The underworld of New York City thrived on a calculated blend of fear, loyalty, and influence, and few figures embodied these qualities more fully than Frank DeCicco. Known for his quiet strength and sharp strategic mind, DeCicco moved adeptly within the shadows, an invaluable asset to the powerful Gambino crime family. Connected to legendary figures such as John Gotti and Paul Castellano, DeCicco's career was marked by his ability to balance alliances, influence significant events, and navigate the ever-turbulent mafia landscape. Unlike many of his peers, DeCicco maintained an elusive profile, which allowed him to evade the pitfalls of high visibility, staying hidden in the shadows while his reach grew. His path to power was complex and often perilous, leading him to the very top of the family hierarchy, until a violent death cut his journey short, leaving an indelible mark on the Gambino legacy. Frank DeCicco was born in November 1935 in the Bath Beach neighborhood of Brooklyn, an area that buzzed with activity, much of it tied to the web of organized crime that dominated the streets. DeCicco's entry into the world of the mafia was, in many ways, inevitable. His father, Vincent Boozy DeCicco, was an established soldier within the Gambino family, while his uncle, George DeCicco, held a prominent position as a capo, or captain, in the same organization. Growing up with these figures as role models, Frank was exposed to the codes, values, and strategies of the underworld from an early age. From a young age, DeCicco was noted for his intelligence and quick learning. While some were drawn to the mafia for the allure of fast wealth or power, DeCicco demonstrated a more calculated approach. As he grew into his teenage years, he began to involve himself in low-level criminal activities. Truck hijackings, robberies, and extortion schemes became part of his daily life, where he learned the methods of the mafia firsthand. His sharp mind and ability to maintain composure quickly earned him a reputation as a calculated, promising member of the family. One of DeCicco's early alliances was with Anthony Casso, a future heavyweight within the mafia. Together, they were rumored to have run numerous successful schemes, building their credibility within New York's organized crime circles. Over time, however, their paths diverged, with Casso eventually aligning with the Lucchese family and DeCicco remaining committed to the Gambinos. The Gambino family's internal structure and reputation revolved around its operations in lucrative industries, from construction to labor unions. Under the guidance of influential Gambino capo James, Jimmy Brown Fila, DeCicco learned the complexities of labor racketeering, extortion, and union control. Through Fila, DeCicco was introduced to the world of the Teamsters Local 282, a union that became a key asset in the Gambino family's income stream. His work within this sector allowed him to secure a no-show job, which cemented his growing criminal profile and brought him closer to the family's power core. Throughout the 1970s, DeCicco's name gained attention within the higher ranks of the Gambino family. His intelligence, combined with his ability to maintain control over criminal enterprises, impressed Paul Castellano, who saw in DeCicco a promising mentee. Castellano recognized that DeCicco's strengths complemented his own approach to leadership, valuing DeCicco's strategic mind as a reliable asset in managing the family's ever-expanding reach into both criminal and legitimate enterprises. Their relationship deepened as Castellano became a mentor to DeCicco, trusting him with key positions within the construction rackets and even more sensitive operations. When Carlo Gambino passed away and designated Castellano as his successor, DeCicco's position within the family seemed poised for elevation. His loyalty to Castellano, along with his growing reputation, made him an invaluable figure during this period of transition. However, Castellano's leadership style soon began to create rifts within the Gambino family. While Castellano was a businessman at heart, prioritizing low-profile money-making operations, others like John Gotti, a more openly brash and assertive figure, viewed this approach as weak and ineffective. DeCicco found himself in the middle of these diverging philosophies. On one hand, his loyalty to Castellano ran deep, but he also recognized the simmering discontent Gotti and his associates harbored toward their boss. In the midst of this tension, DeCicco managed to maintain his allegiance to both Castellano and Gotti, acting as a bridge between the two factions. He recognized the growing threat to Castellano's position, but continued to align himself with his mentor until it became apparent that Castellano's reign might soon be forcibly ended. DeCicco's ultimate decision to side with Gotti was as much strategic as it was pragmatic. He saw the changes taking shape within the mafia world and understood that aligning himself with Gotti, who commanded loyalty and respect from numerous influential figures, would ensure his own survival and advancement. In December 1985, the long-brewing tensions within the Gambino family came to a head. Gotti, along with DeCicco and a handful of trusted associates, planned one of the most infamous hits in mafia history, the assassination of Paul Castellano. The plan required meticulous timing and precision, with DeCicco taking a critical role in its execution. On December 16, outside Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan, Castellano and his bodyguard, Thomas Bellotti, were ambushed and shot dead. This violent public display sent shockwaves through the mafia world, symbolizing a major shift in power dynamics. DeCicco's decision to align himself with Gotti proved fruitful. In the aftermath of Castellano's death, Gotti assumed the role of boss, while DeCicco was rewarded with the position of underboss, one of the highest ranks within the family. This arrangement allowed DeCicco to wield considerable influence behind the scenes, while Gotti took on the public-facing responsibilities of leading the family. With Gotti as boss and Frank as his underboss, the Gambino family took on a new identity. Gotti's high-profile lifestyle, marked by expensive suits, public appearances, and interactions with the press, contrasted sharply with Frank's low-key, methodical approach. As Gotti garnered attention, Frank maintained a quieter, more strategic presence, advising on decisions that required nuance and subtly managing internal disputes. The two men struck a balance. Gotti's charisma kept him in the public eye, while Frank handled many behind-the-scenes dealings, shielding the family from unnecessary exposure and ensuring a level of operational stability. Frank's extensive connections across mafia families further fortified his influence, as he was well respected for his level-headedness, reliability, and diplomatic skills. Despite the outwardly smooth transition, not all mafia families welcomed Gotti's brazen takeover. Vincent, the Chin Gigante, the powerful and secretive boss of the Genovese family, was especially displeased. Gigante saw Gotti's rise and the Castellano hit as setting a dangerous precedent, fearing it could inspire other up-and-comers to challenge established mafia hierarchies. Gigante began rallying support among the other families, particularly the Lucchese, to send a message that such insubordination would not be tolerated. Frank knew that tensions with the Genovese family could spiral into a larger mafia war if not managed carefully. He attempted to mediate, keeping a cautious eye on Gigante's moves while maintaining the loyalty of the Gambino family's rank and file. Nevertheless, tensions continued to rise, and it became clear that Gigante was intent on retaliating for Castellano's murder. The rivalry reached a breaking point in early 1986 when Gigante and the Lucchese family's new leadership, including Anthony, Gaspipe Casso, and Vittorio Amuso, plotted to eliminate Gotti and send a message to the Gambino family. They decided on a method that would implicate a rival faction of newly immigrated Sicilian mobsters known as zips, using a car bomb, a method more common in Sicily but rare in American mafia hits. On April 13, 1986, Frank DeCicco, along with associate Frank Bellino, went to visit a Brooklyn social club where a meeting with fellow Gambino members was planned. Unknown to DeCicco, his car had been rigged with a bomb. The plan was intended for Gotti, but because he didn't attend the meeting, DeCicco unknowingly took the hit instead. When DeCicco opened the door of the car, the bomb detonated, killing him instantly and severely injuring Bellino. The explosive assassination sent shockwaves through the mafia world. Gotti and the rest of the Gambino family were enraged, suspecting Gigante's involvement but lacking concrete evidence. Although retaliation was debated, the lack of solid proof and the potential for a full-blown mafia war led Gotti to exercise caution. Frank's death marked the end of an era. He had been a linchpin in balancing the Gambino family's internal factions and navigating its power struggles. His diplomatic skills and strategic acumen made him irreplaceable. After his death, John Gotti mandated that all Gambino members attend DeCicco's funeral, a testament to his impact on the family. In the years following, Frank's influence was remembered as instrumental in some of the most pivotal moments in the Gambino family's history. His assassination underscored the high stakes and the ever-present danger of mafia life, where even the most loyal and skillful members could fall victim to rivalries beyond their control. Frank DeCicco's legacy endures as a reminder of the calculated maneuvering, loyalty, and peril that defined New York's mafia underworld in the 1980s.
As the final echoes of Frank DeCicco's life fade, we're left with a stark reminder of the era he embodied, a world where cunning, loyalty, and ruthlessness were the tools of the trade. DeCicco's story is not just one of crime, but of power, ambition, and the dangerous allure of life on the edge. If you want to dive deeper into these hidden worlds and unravel more untold tales of the Mafia, join us here on Inside the Secret World of Mafia Titans. Subscribe for more stories of the figures who shaped organized crime from the shadows, and hit that notification bell to never miss an update.